Welcome to the series Employee Health Services, Mind, Body, and Spirit. Employee Health is a section in the City of Albuquerque's Risk Management Division. Its mission is to promote a sense of community and increase wellness among city employees and their families by providing education and counseling about physical and mental health. And now, Mind, Body, and Spirit with Dr. Julia Bain. Hello, I'm Dr. Julia Bain, and welcome to Mind, Body, and Spirit. I have two very special guests today on the program. I have Angela Reed Padilla, CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of New Mexico.
Hello.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you.
We also have Alex Salazar, who was Big Brother of the Year 2013 rock star.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
And thank you for being a big brother and
Well,
helping
thank you
our
for having
community.
me. You bet.
Absolutely. Angela, maybe we could start off with you and you can just talk about, how you became the CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters and just how the whole career began for you with the agency.
Okay. Well, the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters, which resonates with a lot of people in our community, is very simple. We match caring volunteers like Alex with kids in our community in one-to-one relationships. And those mentors give the children the support and the guidance and the inspiration to be successful in life. And I got interested in Big Brothers Big Sisters because when I first moved to New Mexico, almost 30 years ago, I was working in social services. And I loved this demographic and working with kids, but I felt like there wasn't a lot different and there wasn't a lot of change happening that was really going to change the outcome for these kids. And it felt like a desperate situation for a lot of families. And what happened is I kept referring my kids on my caseload to Big Brothers Big Sisters. And finally I said, this would be a very rewarding place to work. So they had a job opening and I went to work for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I've been CEO there now for almost 20 years.
Excellent. Congratulations.
And thank you. And what I love about it, it's really, I think, very unique about Big Brothers Big Sisters. We have more volunteers than most nonprofit organizations. So with our agency, for example, we'll serve 1,600 kids in this community, and that's over 1,600 volunteers that are dedicating a little bit of time in their life to spend with a little brother or little sister. So just the generosity, and we offer the opportunity for people in the community to really get involved. If you don't like what's happening in education, if you're frustrated with the crime rate, this is a fairly easy way to make a huge difference.
One of my questions is, what is your mission? And I gathered from just talking to you earlier this morning that part of your mission is to give these children a sense of hope. You can do it.
That's right.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Yep.
And so a big brother and a big sister is a mentor around that.
Yeah. And a few years ago, I was sitting in a TEDx talk, and it was the education portion, and the speaker said, do you guys realize, talking to the audience, in 20 years in Albuquerque, our graduation rate has not changed. We are one of the worst in the country, and it has not changed in 20 years. And I thought, this isn't okay. I mean, you have to do something different here. So many of our children are living in poverty, and these families just can't dig themselves out. There's got to be a difference. And that's when we brought a new program to this community called Mentor 2.0, and I heard about it.
Which is innovative.
It's very innovative, and it focuses on high school students, and I had the opportunity to observe it in another state. And I said, New Mexico needs this. And in just 3 years, we've been able to ramp up to serve almost 500 kids, and we're continuing to grow. And I do believe we're going to start to change that graduation rate. We definitely are for the kids we're serving, and we're hoping that it can spiral out, into mission graduate and other wonderful things happening in our community.
Because it is school-based,
yes.
the big brother and the big sister. And maybe, Alec, you can talk about this a little bit. Why don't you go ahead and talk to us for a minute about who you are and why you decided to be a big brother?
So I've actually been a big brother. I've gone through 2 stints. My first stint was with Gabriel. I got him when he was 12, and I was with him until he graduated.
Oh,
and
wow.
so, and then I took a couple years off and then got the itch again. And so my second stint with Big Brothers was with Cullen, and got him when he was 11 and was with him until he turned 18.
Good for you. Wow,
and
that's
then-
commitment.
You asked why he was Big Brother of the Year.
Yes, Big Brother of the Year.
Either that or they just didn't kick me out. I don't know. And then now I'm involved with the program that Angela just mentioned, Mentor 2.0. So I have a, I guess, I don't know if it's necessarily called a little, but
A mentee.
he's my mentee, Jordan, at South Valley Academy. And so we just completed our second year there. So he'll be a junior, this coming year. And a much different program from the standpoint it's very structured. It's all about working at the school and with the students and getting them excited and about college.
And they get credit.
And yes, and so
Right.
it is a credit course for them. And so that part's really good because obviously the motivation for them to do well is tied directly to doing well at school. But also from a mentor perspective, they structure the activities such that we're very much focused on a particular activity for that week. Talking about, let's say, how to write a resume, how to apply for college, talking about potential scholarships, that sort of thing. So yeah, I've been involved. I guess I'm adding up the years in my head, 15 now. So not as long as Angela here, but yeah, I've been involved for some time now.
What would you say to members of the audience about how being a Big Brother has changed you and added meaning to your life? Obviously, you find it rewarding. You've been doing it for 15 years. Could you share some of that with our audience?
Yeah. So oftentimes I'm asked, why do you do this? And it's. I mean, it leads me to an experience I had when I was in 7th grade. School was just done. It was just over, and I remember walking around the campus, and this teacher came up to me. And I didn't even have a class with her, but she knew who I was for some reason. And she made the comment, someday I could see you going, to college and becoming a lawyer. And that stuck with me from the standpoint it was, in our family, my mom was the one that always, pushed education and going to college. But it was important to have someone outside the family that struck me as, to give me that encouragement. And I think that's what Big Brothers does. It's someone outside the family, that the child can talk to and throw out ideas and communicate with, and so from that perspective, it's kind of a paying it forward, for me. And so that's kind of how I got into it. I think that's what I get out of it. Angela made the comment. The idea of working one-on-one. With the child is it's one kid at a time, and I think that for me to have that one-on-one relationship it makes it easier for me. Having the Big Brothers support specialists behind me is very important. I think that's a thing that I don't know a lot of people recognize is that when you become a Big Brother. You're just not out there running solo.
Yeah, you don't have to do it by yourself.
Exactly. There is a support mechanism with the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization, and that's. I think I've gotten closer to my support specialist, Erin, over the years. She's wonderful, and shout out to Erin. But and they're there to help out with issues, problems, or just someone to talk to, and you get, because over the years, in my particular case, with the 6-year stints that I went through, it's always good to have that cheerleader behind you to keep you focused and pushed and kind of keeping the eye on the prize.
That's wonderful. So how many paid staff do you have?
So we have about 30 to 35 paid staff. Okay. And, I was sharing with you a lot of times people ask you, why do you need money? Why do you need staff? All these wonderful volunteers. And if anybody's ever tried to herd a group of volunteers, well, imagine that we have over 1,600 active volunteers.
That's a lot of people.
And you've got a lot of people in process that you're interviewing and you're getting ready to come into the system. So we hire only professional degreed staff, and we're out in the community constantly recruiting volunteers, and getting the word out and bringing the families in. Families are referred to us all over. We serve 8 counties. And we get calls from, school counselors and parents and grandparents raising their kids that just don't know what to do or what resources are out there.
Need support.
Yes.
And you just don't throw big brothers and big sisters with the child. It's kind of a science. You really study the personality of the child and the volunteer. Can you talk about that for a minute?
That's right. And that's why we are the premier mentoring organization in the country. We've been around for over 100 years. And I think we've got it down to a science. So everything from really knowing what it takes to be a volunteer, managing expectations, both for the volunteer and the family, setting boundaries and ground rules, and just really thinking about who we have in the pipeline. So you've got a lot of kids waiting to be matched, and you've got some excited volunteers waiting to be mentors. And we look at, who's going to make a good pair together. Will they be likely to bond? Are they outdoorsy? Are they indoorsy? And you just kind of, all of that thought process goes into it. And then once they get matched, as Alex said, we've got the support team. You get your own individual support specialists, and they're there for you all the time, and for the families as well.
And we were talking earlier about how you're always looking for men.
Yes.
So shout out everybody who's watching, you
That's
guys, right?
That's right.
Talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so we have at least twice as many boys that are referred to the program. So this is really a dual message. One of those is if you have daughters, if you're going to refer your son, refer your daughter too, because we have hundreds of women coming into the program to be Big Sisters, and it's a wonderful opportunity for girls. Boys tend to act out more when they're in certain situations, and so sometimes their adults in their life are desperate to get them some services, but they don't think about the issues the girls are going through, and so we just don't get girls referred as much. So this is a shout out to parents, grandparents, school counselors, anybody, refer your girls. We've got a wonderful program for them. For the boys, our boys will wait at least 2 years for a big brother, and some of them will age out or drop off without ever getting a big brother because there's just such a demand. We're matching hundreds and hundreds of boys, but there's still so many waiting. So yes,
Age out,
we need
that
good
means
men.
18 years old, right?
Or usually, like if a boy's on the community-based waiting list, if they get to be around 14, it's not going to be a good opportunity for them probably to start at that age unless they're in one of our school programs.
Okay.
Because it's hard to, it's hard even if you were matched at 11, right, when they get into teenagers too. So, so we definitely need men. In our community-based program, we get a lot of men in their 20s before they're having their own families, or we get men that are retired. That's kind of an attractive time, although we'll take men at any age. Mentor 2.0 is a wonderful program for the professional male. So if someone's sitting out there going, God, this makes a lot of sense, and I remember that mentor in my life, and I'd love to make a difference. There's no way I have time to do this. Mentor 2.0, you're working through an email platform. So once a month, you have to get in your car and drive somewhere. The rest of the month, you can do it really from anywhere in the world because you're logging into this platform and you're working on curriculum together, right? And building that and giving them that support through that platform.
That's doable, right?
It's doable. That's when I became a Big Sister again because I hadn't done it for a while. I was in the early days. I have 4 kids and I'm running an agency, very busy. And I said, I have time to do this. Not only do I have time, but I am dragging my husband in too. So he is matched this year with a junior. Yeah, and he's a wonderful big brother. So this is a shout out too. If you're a woman out there and you're thinking, my guy would be a great big brother and he will never do this on his own. A lot of our men come because they're dragged kicking and screaming, and then once they get in it, they love it.
They get hooked.
Yep.
This is, I'm sure, one of the reasons why, Angela, you were CEO of 2015, the best CEO for Big Brothers Big Sisters from across the country. I want to congratulate
Thank you.
That's
Thanks.
a wonderful award, and obviously you deserve it.
Thank you.
Yeah, without a doubt. So, let me put my glasses on. I told you I
Okay.
would. And make sure I don't miss anything that we want to talk about. So you assist 1,600 kids every year, and what are you looking for in terms of your volunteers in terms of personality, and how difficult is the process to go ahead and become a volunteer? But who are you looking for? What kind of a person?
right? Well, maybe I can answer the who, and you could talk about the process since
Sure.
you've been through it a few times. Perfect. We are really looking for someone who, the best thing I can say is if you can remember a time in your life when someone mentored you, and it may have been just a little moment. Alex mentioned his. For me, it was a teacher I had in high school. It makes me emotional just to think about it. That's how powerful that memory is, and most of us have one. I said, I can't go to college. I don't have any money. My parents are divorced and whatever. And she said, no, you are going to sit and write some scholarships, and you're going to apply for at least 2 colleges, and she made me do it and took me under her wing, and I ended up getting a college scholarship and going to college, and that started me on my path. I can't imagine what I would have done without it. And so if you have that memory and you can conjure that up, know that you don't have to be a hero. This is not a huge job. It is just spending some time with a young person and being that light for them. And just saying you can be whatever you want. You don't have to be limited by, your family circumstances or what the kids across the street are doing or any of that. Yes, Albuquerque's tough. It's a tough place to grow up as a kid. We know that, and we're trying to change that, but mentors make a huge impact. So a few hours a month, and you could make a huge difference in a child's life and pay it forward, like someone probably did for you at some point.
That's an excellent explanation. Thank you for that. You want to talk about the process?
Well, yeah. So the process actually it's very well structured. So you call up Big Brothers Big Sisters. You fill out the application. They vent you and also the child. So they have a pretty good feel for your background, your interests. They do interview you. It's a very, very thorough interview. I think it was more thorough than my security clearance interview got it into Sandia. And so the support specialist has a pretty good, has good insight into, your personality, your wants, your interests, and also the child. So they have a pretty good feel for when they match you, and they go through a good process. And then once you're involved in that, I mean, there's training involved, but they, once you're involved and you're matched with your little, they have these activities that they sponsor and support. Sometimes it's as much as once a month, maybe more often, and so you get an opportunity not only to meet, do things with your little, but you meet other bigs and littles in that surrounding. So you have an opportunity to sort of trade notes and talk to other bigs about say how do what are some of the things that you do, and I've had this issue with my little. How did you deal with it? And they also actually have big-only events where you could get together with other bigs in a very safe environment where you could trade stories or get some help or background on what to do. So the community is actually there. I mean, you're not only just having a little brother, but you also have the big brother, big sister community that you interface with. But ultimately, the point you want to get to, that I try to with my little, is you really want to get to a level of trust with your little. I mean, there's always kind of growing pains when you first start off, and you're kind of you're dipping your toe in the water, so to speak. But after a while, you get together and you start getting comfortable with each other, and they'll start opening up. But I think you've hit it when they start asking questions, and and some of the questions are pretty far out, and I think that's good. And the more comfortable they feel with you, the more they're going to ask you about certain things that are, and it could be as innocuous as things going on in their family life, your family life, but ultimately you want to get them to a point where they're just comfortable with you, and they may not share their most deep secrets, but that's not, I don't think, what it's about. I think it's just more of a comfort and having them feel comfortable to talk to somebody. And you don't want to judge them, and they're big brothers, big sisters, pretty good about setting those expectations. And you don't necessarily want to elicit advice that just it hasn't been asked for, right? But sometimes you can, as a big brother, sort of plant a seed, and over the course of time, you could see it sort of develop and grow, and you do want to push the college thing and getting an education, all that, but you don't want to be heavy-handed about it, right? But again, every now and again, you just throw out what worked for you as an individual, and how I got here, and because the kids see if you're got a good job and you're happy with your life and how you got there, those are things that resonate with those kids. And so,
Absolutely, and just the gift of giving a child an opportunity to be their true, genuine, authentic self with someone,
right.
that they feel safe enough with you that they can do that. That's amazing.
Yeah. I've seen kids just become completely overwhelmed when they first get matched and say, wait, so you're signing up to spend time with me and you're not getting paid and no one's court ordering you to do this, really? And
some
it's
suspiciousness, right?
And just it's an experience they haven't had before. Why would you want to do that? Why would you spend time with me if you don't have to? And that is an amazing and powerful feeling for a child to know this person really likes me for me. They don't have to
I want to
do
give you
this.
the gift of my presence.
Yeah.
I want you to know that every single thing that you say is the most important thing I've ever heard.
That's right. And today we're going to go out and it's going to be all about you.
Yeah.
And we'll have kids that are the oldest in their family, right? And they get babysitting duties. That helps a lot. A lot of times the babysitting duties keep them out of school because they're having to take care of their little siblings and stuff. So to be able to go and be the little brother and sister for once, it's a great experience.
Absolutely. I hadn't thought about that.
And when I was a big sister, the mom of my little sister, I would go, she had 6 kids, and she was being a single mom, and she would go, oh, thank you, Angela. I'm going to hurt this child if you don't take her for a couple hours. She was a wonderful mom, but I'm like, I can imagine. That was before I had my kids, so we'd go have fun, and it just makes a big difference, to give these struggling parents a break.
Some respite.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, one of the interesting things on your website was the 100-year timeline of the organization nationally. Could you just talk about that for just a minute?
Yes,
because I thought that was
sure.
very interesting, how it all started and how it's grown.
Right. So we started with the basic concept that we still have today. And, 100 years ago, there's a couple little different versions, right, about exactly who started what. But it started as Big Brothers. And there was a judge, kind of in the same situation I was as a social worker, who kept having these kids come through going, we got to change these kids' stories. I mean, no wonder they're, ending up in my court. Look at their lives. And so he started just grabbing lawyers and going, you, go be a big brother, help this kid out. You could make a difference if you just take them under your wing for a while. And so that's how Big Brothers started. And as a movement, it just grows because the powering of mentoring, you can go back, 2,000 years and you see, examples of mentoring. It's very powerful. It's natural. It's not hard. It can be hard sometimes, but it's very worthwhile and it makes sense, and everybody needs mentors. So we just developed over the year. We serve about 250,000 kids, and we're in pretty much every county and every city across the country, and we're international.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But child safety is very big for us. If Alex feels challenged in a match and he's frustrated and goes, man, we are stuck and I can't get through this, then we want to help him move through that so that they can stay together and have a good relationship.
Absolutely. And then when did the little sisters come in?
So it was probably maybe 10 or 15 years past the start of it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, what an amazing man, who just took the initiative.
And had that vision.
And had that vision. And, all of us need to think about every single day, even if it's simply a kind word to a coworker or helping a neighbor get a couch inside their front door, or whatever it is, an act of kindness can change a life.
That's right. And it can change your life too. I mean, they always say if you're feeling depressed or sorry for yourself, go help somebody. You know, it's amazing how, even in my busiest day, and some of my days I'm insane, I have 4 kids, and I'm so busy. And yet I'm a big sister, and I will go and spend time with my little sister, and it transforms me. It's like all of a sudden, you know, I'm in this relationship with her. Sometimes your little sister will look at you and go, how's it going, Angela? You know, it's so nice. And my husband tells me his little brother gives him business advice, and he's a pretty smart kid, so it's a two-way street. Yeah.
You know, I know you get some funding from United Way, but quite a bit of how you run and how you roll is private donations. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And
yes.
Are you usually open to accepting donations? And can you tell
Why,
the audience
yes.
how they can give either of their time or open your wallet, get out your credit card, get out your checkbook? Please tell the audience how they can contribute.
Right. Well, especially if you're really resonating with this message and you're like, oh, I just can't get there to be a big brother, big sister, you know, well, guess what? You can support a match. And that's wonderful. We make it really easy. If you go to our website, you can just Google Big Brothers, Big Sisters and really put in any city and it will drive you there.
Okay.
If you put in Albuquerque, it'll bring you to ours.
Okay.
And we have an online donation system. What we're doing right now, which a lot of individuals love and are joining, is becoming what we call a monthly engaged giver. So, you know, you can give $25 a month and make a match and support a match like Alex's and the work that he does. And it's a wonderful way to
great.
contribute. So just go to the website and sign up. If your company is a company that you think would like to get involved, we have event sponsorship opportunities. We'll go into businesses and make presentations and get people excited about Big Brothers, Big Sisters. So lots of ways to be involved. And we are a donor-supported organization. We cannot do this. I have to raise, you know, I start with $0 in the bank every year and have to raise all those funds. Another wonderful way to give, which is super, super easy, is donating to the donation center. So we've got about 200 of those lovely green bins around our communities. And if you have used clothing, if you just did a spring clean out or whatever, you know, just toss your clothes in a bin. We've got a few attended donation sites. We raise enough money to fund a quarter of our program. So we're serving hundreds of kids through the donation center.
What is your phone number?
837-9223.
837-9223. And it's easy to just, you know, Google it as well.
Yes.
We have like a minute and a half.
Okay.
Final words of wisdom for the audience.
I guess just from my perspective, I mean, Big Brothers, Big Sisters for me personally, I mean, yes, I'm giving back to the community, and that, I mean, there's this, you know, feel-good story there, but ultimately when you're matched with a little, I mean, it becomes very personal, and you see directly your impact. And, you know, as Angela said, sometimes it can be a little tough, but ultimately, you know, what I get back in return is much more than what I put into this. And you know, I mean, I continue supporting the program with Mentor 2.0. I got you know, Jordan, he's going to be a junior next year, and I have every confidence he's going to go to college, and you know, and I'm really excited about that. So the personal reward is definitely there.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Angela?
So don't let the moment pass. You know, jump in, get involved,
Carpe
do
diem.
something. Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
All right, CEO of the Year. Thank you so much.
Thank
you
you.
for your service. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
your
Julie.
service to our community. I really, really appreciate both of you so much. And I appreciate you, and thank you for watching. Please support Big Brothers, Big Sisters, please. And this is Dr. Julia Bain. Until next time, be happy and be well.
This has been Employee Health Services Mind, Body, and Spirit. For more information, call the City of Albuquerque's Employee Health Services at 768-4613. Let the Employee Health Services staff let you be your best at work, at home, and at play.